Well, hello. Thank you for joining me. Those of you guys that are watching live, and especially those of you out in podcast land listening to the Live by Design podcast. Blake Mallett here with a very special birthday episode. Want to have a special birthday conversation with you all today. Yes, February 2nd. 1981. That's my birthday. Some of you guys might know February 2nd up until this point as Groundhog Day. How many of you know what Groundhog Day is? And you probably have two maybe associations to that term. First, meaning the day the groundhog supposedly peeks his head out of the hole and tries to see a shadow. And if he sees a shadow, meaning the sun is shining, that's supposed to predict, 6 more weeks of winter weather. Or maybe you have the association of like the movie, right? Groundhog's Day, where you have a series of very negative events happening in the exact same way simultaneously. But hopefully from this point forward, you'll also remember Groundhog's Day, February 2nd, as yes, my birthday. First and foremost, I appreciate everybody out there who has sent some birthday love and birthday wishes. I love the way social media has amplified birthdays. Because if you really think about it, right, prior to us being so easily connected, as years go by, you drift away from so many relationships. But, in the world of social media today, it's so awesome that we're able to keep ties and keep relationships, maybe from people that are from past parts of life, past sections of life that maybe you don't talk to, as frequently as you like. But, birthdays have that fun way of bringing us back together. At least I always love that part of the year, seeing the different comments and the different posts and the different messages. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you for all of the birthday love. I do actually take the time to see the posts, read the messages, and scroll through. And for every one of you out there who listens to this message, whether here live or you catch it on the podcast, thank you for being a part of my life at any point in any way. Whether that was a small moment we shared together or a large section of life, maybe we still communicate, or maybe it's been too long. I hope all of you are well. I hope all of you are healthy. Hope all of you are safe. I hope all of you are thriving. And I wish you all the best and send the love back to you all. I appreciate every moment that we've had a chance to experience. And hopefully those moments aren't done. Hopefully we get a chance to create more moments together in the future. But excited about today's conversation. So I was thinking I want to do something special for my birthday. I don't know about you guys, but my birthday every year, it's a very reflective time. It's a very introspective time. I use my birthday every year as kind of my personal New Year's. And what I mean by that is you think about the energy that most people bring into a new year, a blank slate. We look back on the year behind us. We anticipate the year ahead of us. A lot of times, New Year's has to do with goal setting. We've been talking a lot in our previous conversations this year around the energy of intention, right, into a new year. And for me, I use my birthday, February 2nd, as that annual milestone. And I've done that consistently for decades now in my life, where sometimes I'll run away and retreat for a day or a weekend and reflect on my last year, project on my next year. I do my goal setting and have conversations kind of with myself on a chance to pause and reflect on my annual birthday. And every year, I go through a certain kind of personal system or personal process. Matter of fact, we've talked a little bit about that process in the past. For those of you guys that have been following the podcast for a while now, one of our early episodes, I think it's episode 15, I talked about the life lens, which is just a system. And I don't mean to take credit for the system. It's a system that's really a bunch of pieces of other people's systems that I've collected over the years as a student and kind of pieced together in a way that works for me. But if you haven't had a chance to catch up that episode, or maybe you're in a time right now of renewal or rejuvenation, reinvention, go ahead and check that conversation out. And as part of that life lens process, every year, I kind of create a personal theme. And I figured it was fitting on my birthday to maybe share with all of you a theme that I plan on carrying into this year, a theme that I plan on bringing into 2022, and a theme that not only I want to share publicly with all of you as a means of, maybe holding myself accountable, but also a theme that I think will be relevant and hopefully impactful, and maybe something you guys choose to weave into your 2022 plan, regardless of where your birthday is. But first, a story. So I was out in Kentucky a couple weeks ago. We were putting together one of our community events at an amazing hybrid virtual event together. And my business partner, Brian Underwood, was sitting in the office, and he started calling everybody out around the table. He said, "Hey, what's your word for the year? What's your theme for the year?" And he was going around kind of putting everybody on the spot, and he shared, his themes or his intentions for the year. And as he went around the room, I already knew my word, right? I didn't have to be put on the spot. I didn't have to create it right there off the cuff. I already knew my word because I've been thinking about the word I wanted to bring into 2022. So when he came all the way around the table and he said, "Blake, what's your word? What's your theme? What's your intention for the year?" Without hesitation, I told him my word for this year is energy. Energy. My word as I go into my 41st year on this planet, this 2022, is energy. And I thought it was cool because I planned on having this conversation today. And literally last night, I can't make this up, I go to my mailbox. And for those of you guys watching on video, you can see I'm holding up a card. And it's a card actually from Brian. It says, "Blake, I don't tell you enough. I appreciate you and all of your energy. May this year bring you an abundance of positive energy. Dream bigger always," right? Little personal card from Brian and a little packet. You guys can see this. I'm holding it up, and I open this up. I'm getting chills just sharing this. And as I take this out of its packaging here, for those of you guys on video, you'll see it's a cool little bracelet, and it says, "What's your word?" on the top. And right there on the bracelet, engraved in the bracelet, you guys want to guess what word? If you want to zoom in and see what word he thinks on the bracelet. You guys guessed it, right? The word energy. So thank you, BU. Appreciate you and your partnership and little thoughtful things like that, not only for leading by example with your own themes and intention, but inspiring others, calling me out and following up with that gift. I will put this on here today as a reminder of that word, energy, which is the conversation I want to have with all of you today on this special birthday episode of really what that word means when I say I want to bring energy into this year, because it's probably not what your first impression might be. It's interesting. There's a lot of conversations I feel happening right now around, where are you investing? How many of you guys have been a part of dialogue or heard conversations, right? Of, where are you investing? When the first thing we think about when we use the word investing, we think about money, right? We think about something financial. Where are you investing your money? There's so many conversations right now all about crypto, right? All around us. A lot of people that are all across the board, raving believers, people that on the other side of the spectrum that, wouldn't put a dollar, and everywhere in between. But there's conversation nonetheless, very relevant right now on, where am I investing in crypto? You got all this NFTs, right? What are you investing in NFTs? Real estate has obviously been just an explosion. So all these different conversations are happening as just part of normal dialogue these days on, where are you investing, right? Your money, or you're investing, in your crypto or your NFTs or your real estate or wherever you're investing right now. And I find it interesting that it's normal and social to have these conversations around what we're investing our financial resources in. Yet nobody's really having the conversation of, where are you investing your energy right now? And the reason I highlight that is, money may be the currency we talk about the most, but energy is the currency of life. Go with me here. Energy is the currency of life. You guys, at the end of the day, our energy is all we have. You think about someone young. You're downstairs right now. I can hear my son and daughter playing, right? My son Grayson's 6, my daughter Sadie 3.5. And if you are around any kids anywhere near those ages. And I'm sure we were to ask each other to describe our next generation, our future generation, our youth. One word that's going to be at the top of your list in describing our next generation is they have a lot of what? Energy. You guys, we look at our youth, we look at our future generation, and one of the things that describe them is the radiating nonstop energy. We think of someone that's in a flow, in a momentum, right? We think about the energy they're radiating. On the flip side of the spectrum, when you think about, we go through a bout of unhealth so much right now, right? With so much going on when it comes to COVID and, all the different strains and so many people being affected. And how do we describe when we're not feeling 100%, right? When we get sick, when we're unhealthy, right? One of the first things we say, we don't have a lot of what? Energy. My energy is down. I'm tired. We think about the aging process as we get older in life, right? We start to say, hey, I don't have the energy that I used to have. So you guys, I draw these analogies to point out that at the end of the day, energy is the currency of life. Our ability, right, to have an energy is what makes us alive. Our ability to, decide where we put our energy is literally the investment of our life. Forget money. Yeah, money, finances, NFTs, crypto, real estate, all that stuff's great. But at the end of the day, energy is the real currency. And I think we need to have more conversation. And my goal of our conversation today is to raise the level of consciousness, raise the level of awareness, and start to ask ourselves the question, we're mindful of where we're investing our money, but are we just as mindful of where we're investing our energy, i.e. where we're investing our life? And guys, energy is expensive. Our energy is expensive. You wouldn't go around right now giving away a bunch of free money, a bunch of free physical assets to people that are hurting you. You wouldn't go giving away free money, free assets to people that are against you. You wouldn't be giving away, right, a bunch of money or assets, right, to people that are limiting you. You wouldn't go around and say, I really hate this person. Here's some money, right? This person really upsets me. Here's some money. This person is really limiting me right now. Here's some money. This person is really diminishing me here right now. Here's some money. You wouldn't do that with your money. And so you shouldn't do that with your energy. And yet so many of us today are putting our energy, are investing our energy into people and places that aren't worth the return. We're giving it away. We're giving it away. Something, in my opinion, that has a higher value than even the dollar. But we're not treating it as such. We're giving it away to people and places that don't deserve it. And you guys, here is the challenge with that maybe we don't even realize is, you guys, energy is a precious resource. I always flash back when I think of energy, or I have this type of conversation with myself or others. I flash back to like video games. Now, guys, it's been a long time since I've played video games. I've never been much of a gamer. I think the only system I ever had was regular Nintendo. I did have a regular Nintendo. Hey, Contra, I still remember the code, right? Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, right? Zelda, we can go back. Excite Bike, right? That was my era. But you think about video games, there's so many games that are on the basis of energy. You start with a certain amount of blocks of energy. And the name of the game at the end of the day is just to keep your energy for as long as you can. And there's certain things that take energy away. You get hit, you get punched, right? You hit the thing you're not supposed to hit. Your energy goes down. It goes too low. You die. You lose a life. Or you find ways throughout the game to gain energy, to add energy, to prolong your life. That's the game. But guys, that game is life. What we do is not that much different. We have a finite fixed amount of energy. We wake up every morning with a certain amount of energy. And we have a choice as we go throughout the day. Are we running into things that decrease our energy, or are we running into things that increase our energy. And that's a choice that we have, and we're not mindful of where we're putting that energy. And you guys, at the end of the day, if you're feeling drained, beat up, down, dead, out of bars, it's a really good physical indicator that you're putting your energy into things that aren't giving you a return. Here's what I've learned. There are certain things that drain you, and there are certain things that amplify or multiply you. And that's the truth. We all can relate right now. I'm sure right now you could list off a bunch of things that drain your energy. But there's also a bunch of things I bet you can list off that amplify or multiply your energy. See, when you invest your energy into the right things, it acts like a generator. You think of a generator. What's a generator? A generator takes a certain amount of electricity and makes more what? Electricity. It takes a certain amount of energy and makes more what? Energy. You plug in an energy, it reciprocates the energy. That's the job of a generator. Guys, when it comes to investing our energy, are we putting our energy into things that give us no return, that just suck, that just take, that just drain? Or do we put our energy into things that are a generator for our life, that reciprocate the energy back? In some cases, multiply or amplify the energy. That is the game. Where is our energy going? And you guys, here's the scary thing. You can even do the wrong things for the right reasons, and you're going to get the same result. Because I've learned this, and I'm sure many of you at your point in your life have come to the same conclusion. If you do the wrong things, you help a person, a circumstance, because you want to be polite, you want to be nice, you want to do the right thing, you want to be kind. Even though your intention might be right, if it's going into something that drains you, it's still going to drain you. And if you keep giving with the right intention to the wrong place, you're going to end up with the same result, drained, out of energy. No life, no vitality. It will suck the life out of you, even if you're doing it for the right reasons. Feeling left drained. Because this is, in my opinion, one of the most important conversations we can have with each other, we can have with ourselves for this year, 2022, is where are we investing our energy? So that's why when Brian went around the table and put me on the spot, I said, energy's my word, because my personal word here on my birthday for this year is energy. And after everything I just shared with you, I think you understand the context as to why, not just energy, but more specifically, intentionality on where my energy is going and where it's not. And starting to shift away from people or places or circumstance that maybe drain energy, and make sure the majority of my intention and my time and my life is into people and places and circumstances that generate or amplify energy. And at the end of the day, guys, most things can fall into either of those buckets. Makes it really easy when it comes to decisions and strategy for your own life design. So, guys, I want to talk about that concept for me. And I felt for my birthday, I did this for my own exercise, but I wanted to have a transparent conversation with all of you. So what I did going into my birthday, right, is really create two lists. Very simple. I created a list of things that take energy for me personally, and a list of things that add energy for me personally. And just to show you guys, for those of you that are following live here, there's a cool little app called Simple Mind. It does mind maps. You guys remember mind maps in school? Mind maps where you little bubbles and draw little bubbles. Just a fun way to think. I love mind maps. Creates a free flowing form. It's a great way to brainstorm different things. So for me, I just used a little mind map app, and I created two lists here, right? You can see them. One says negative energy. One says positive energy. A list of things for me personally that take away energy, and a list of things that add energy. Now, guys, these are lists that I put together purely for me, no other intent, but for my own personal goal going into my 41st year, so I can increase the things that add energy, decrease the things that take away energy, hold myself accountable. But I figured, hey, why not have this conversation with you all? For, I guess, two reasons. One, so I can articulate, I can communicate, and I can help the level of accountability for myself and sharing this with you. But also number two, because I bet there's some things on my list that might be on your list, or there might be some things on my list that if it's not exactly the same, inspire you to think about what your list could look like. And that's why I want to share this with all of you with a little bit of a nudge and a little bit of a challenge for you maybe to adopt this exercise and make your own list of the things that take away energy and the things that add energy specific to you. You know you better than anybody else. You know these things. These aren't things you have to create. These aren't things you have to do a whole lot of homework. These aren't things you got to search the internet for. You know. It did not take me very long at all to make a list of the things that take my energy and add my energy, because I know me just like you know you. We just have to challenge ourselves to pause, stop for a minute, ask the right question, and put pen to paper or fingertips to keys to make out the list. And so I want to read you the list, if I have your permission, if that's okay with you, on some of the things that are personal to me, again, as a means of hopefully inspire similar conversation within you. So we're going to go down in no particular order, no particular priority. Let's start with things that take energy. These are things, guys, that I'm trying to limit in 2022. Things that I think are things that drain or take or don't reciprocate energy. You know, Coach Rob DeBoer, someone that works within our community, he has a saying. He always says, energy in, energy out. And he's referencing our diet, right? Things we put into our body is what comes out of our body. So I figured starting with things on a diet conversation, we can't talk about energy without addressing, right, diet and the things we put in our diet that help create it. There's certain things that I know take energy, right? I know when I overeat carbs, it slows me down. I know when I eat too much sugar, it might give me a short-term energy, but then it creates a crash, right? Alcohol, right? I wouldn't put myself as someone on a list that drinks a lot excessively, but I would put myself on a list and say, you know what? Sometimes I drink too frequently, right? Even if it's not a lot, too frequently, and I don't feel the same. So I want to limit the amount of alcohol consumption, right? Even if it's just, one drink every single day is too much, right? So for me personally, right? And it slows me down. Caffeine is, again, one of those things that, coffee, it'll spike me up, but then I find myself drinking more and more and more. And then I feel bad when I don't. So these are things that I'm trying to limit, okay, as I go into the year when it comes to my diet. I've also been on this kick when it comes to negative energy or things that take energy, of this concept of overconsumption. Now, flow with me here. Overconsumption. Now, you might think food, and yes, that's true. Over-consuming food, you feel lethargic. But I'm not just talking about food. Overconsumption also of screens, right? I don't know about you, but in a COVID world, in a pandemic world, in a virtual workplace world, I found myself in front of screens too much. Overconsumption of screens in the computer, right? I can feel that, right? Anything that's too much. Material things. Over consuming material things, excess, buying things you don't need just to have, keeping things around that you don't use just to have. I've been on this kick, especially going into this year, where I want to minimize, right, the clutter, minimize the excess, minimize the things that you don't need. It just creates weight in life. It's something that I can feel. So this concept of overconsumption, right, is something I want to bring into this year. Valueless tasks. For me, drain. When I say a valueless task, a task that has no value. What do you mean by value? Doesn't add value to me or others, right? Something that adds value, you guys know it brings value to yourself or value to others. But tasks that are just a standard monotony, a routine, a stagnant, represent something that's draining for me, right? Something that is status quo and no growth. Right. I'm at a stage in my life where I want the opposite of that. Right. So that is draining. Here's a big one, a conversation really over the last 2 years the world has been dealing with. My world has been dealing with. I know your world has been dealing with. And that is anything where we act out of fear. Now, fear is a big word, right? And it's kind of all consuming because there's so many things that we say or reference when we talk about fear. But anytime we act out of fear, we're worried. What is worry other than being afraid of something that probably will never be, right? We use words like stress or anxiety. What's stress or anxiety other than fear of certain things happening in the future, of which 99.9% of the things we worry, stress, or fear never really happen. It's the fear itself that causes the reaction, not the thing. Here's what I know. You, yes, you listening right now, you have survived 100% of all the things you were afraid of in the past. You are here. That's a pretty good success rate. But fear sucks energy. Overwhelmness. Scarcity. What is scarcity other than fear, right? When it comes to finances or finite resources. So anytime acting out of fear, the way that drains energy, and I won't go into a whole biological breakdown, but there are so many conversations and studies out there of how you get stuck in these fear cycles and how it's literally your body. It's like running the batteries at full speed and your body just draining. You could be doing nothing but ruminating, right? No physical activity, and you are draining your battery by just the attention and intention you're feeding to the fear. What you feed grows, what you starve dies. And there's too many people feeding fear right now. And I want that cut. So I'm not a fan of news and media. I never have been ever in my life. Right? People used to think I was crazy because I just could be oblivious to what's going on in the world because I do not watch any of the news or media. I just don't. I never have. I've never liked the energy of it. And now I've seen the consequences and ramifications personally, and my friends, family, we all have the last 2 years of just fear. So for me, I put that on the negative list. It's draining. It's things I want to remove from my space. Diminishment. Any sort of diminishment, self-diminishment, right? Talking down, limiting oneself. Diminishment of others, talking down and limiting the potential of others. Any sort of diminishment, to me, that's draining. Here's a big one, guilt. How many of you guys sometimes carry around more guilt than you know is healthy for you? More guilt than you know you even deserve, but you're still carrying the weight, right? Guilt, self-guilt. Sometimes we put that weight on ourselves. Guilt put on to us by the people around us, right? And guilt that we generate through our actions. But guilt, guys, is draining. It's draining energy. Feeling taken advantage of, right? Something that nobody likes, right? And again, sometimes you might feel taken advantage of and you got to take responsibility. Maybe you opened that door, right? Maybe you tried to take the kindness route, but you were putting it in a direction that was a negative. It was a take. It wasn't a reciprocate. Along the same lines, regret. The feeling of regret, feeling of a wasted time or a wasted talent or a wasted opportunity. How about energy put into people pleasing, right? Constantly trying to meet another person's expectation, constantly trying to make everybody happy, constantly trying to be like, that is draining. If you're constantly trying to do what you think everybody else wants you to do, guys, the stress alone of trying to figuring that out, let alone the impossibility of meeting everybody's simultaneous expectation, will kill you. It will drain you. It's an energy suck. And any sort of relationships or people that add any of those feelings, any sort of one-sided relationships, right? We've all had people in our lives that just take, and there's no reciprocity. Any sort of relationships in our life that constantly stand in the negative, constantly come from a place of victim, constantly, right, have a negative mentality. Their energy sucks. You might love them. They might be great people. I'm not saying they're not. But for me, drawing a line, you have to protect your energy. You wouldn't invest your money into people or places that just take and don't return. Don't invest your energy, your life into people and places that just take and don't return. Guys, that's just a list. You can feel the energy right now. Just reading that list, the energy just gets sucked out of it, talking about it, let alone spending time and intention on it. So those are things I put on my negative energy list. Right. And some of those things maybe you can relate with. Matter of fact, I'll ask all of you, how many of you heard something that you would put on the top of your list that just sucks your energy, that doesn't give it back to you? Maybe there's other things that are not on my list that are on your list, but make a list of the things, right, that take your energy that you want to carve out. For me, those are things I want less of, right, in my life going into 2022 in my 41st year. I don't think any of us will ever get to a point where we can cut 100%, but hey, we can aspire to get as close to that as possible, can't we? Now let's shift gears to the fun side. So the fun side is the opposite, right? So what are things that add energy? What are the generators? What are things that you can put your life into that give back, right? That reciprocate, that multiply, that amplify, right? Things that add energy. Going back to energy in, energy out starts with our diet, right? Lower of everything I talked about earlier, right? So I'm going to cut out all of those things, right? For me, hydration is something I'm focused on, right? Drinking the certain amount of water sounds simple, but it's not. Most people walk around completely dehydrated, myself included. And obviously, I'm a big fan of ketones. Got my Naranja, right? Free cell, drinking right now. Ketones and supplements, that all adds energy. Those are things I'm committed to building into perpetual habit, right, this year. Creating and building. For me, the opposite of consuming is creating, right? Creating, whether it be an idea, whether it be a concept, whether it be a thing, building something up, manifesting. Those are things that add energy to me, things that I love to do, right? You can feel it even just talking about it. When it comes to work or tasks, kind of the opposite of what I said earlier. So, not monotony or routine, but things that allow me to learn, things that allow me to grow, things that allow me to, do something I haven't done before, expand, right? Things that challenge us. Those are things, at least in my world, that add energy. Things that are in line with my strengths. We all have different strengths. We all have different gifts. My gifts are my gifts. Your gifts are your gifts. What makes us unique are the fact we have different gifts, but we all have gifts. And you'll find, at least I have, when you work in your strength zone, right? When you work, not focused on your weakness or what you have to fix, but the thing that you excel at, the thing you flow at, you get energized. You can do it all day long. How many of you have ever gotten into a state where you can get into a state of flow? It's like you don't have to think. It's almost effortless. Time flies. That's a state of flow. That's a huge indicator that you're in your strength zone. And obviously, if you can be in alignment with things you're passionate about, something that's a bigger picture, a bigger cause, something you believe in, it adds energy, at least for me. Right? So I want to focus my time on tasks that hit some or all of those things that stretch me, challenge me, allow me to grow or learn, things that are aligned with my strengths, things that I'm passionate about. That's where we want our life to go, isn't it? In that process, growth or progress, right? I'm by nature an achiever. I know there's probably some fellow achievers out there. It's built into our DNA, right? And that's not a bad thing. That's who we are. So anything that's progress, right? Or achievement oriented, that's something that fuels me. I know it fuels many of you guys that are watching out there. When it comes to movement, we can't ignore energy, right? Also comes from being active, from moving our body. There's a physical nature. Motion creates emotion. Movement creates an energy, right? And I want to do more of that, right? In my 41st year. Some of you guys know I like running, right? But it's not just running. I like running. I like biking. I want to compete in some triathlons. I love surfing. It's my passion. I've surfed since I was in middle school consistently, right? Hiking, anything adventurous, activities fuel me up. It's on my list, right? Of things that add energy. A lot of those involve being outdoors because I know nature adds energy to me, right? And there's certain things about nature. Yes, just being outside. Yes, being in forest. For me, water is huge. It might be an Aquarius thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a human thing. I don't know. But for me, I can feel energy from water. It's why I've always been attracted, had an affinity to ocean or surfing or things in the water. If I can be around water, it's something I can feel. It charges me up. It's like plugging in, right? Sunsets do the same thing. I find myself wanting to catch more sunsets at the end of the day, being intentional around that. Why? Because it feeds me. It gives energy to me. It's like plugging in your iPhone at the end of the day so it has a fresh charge the next morning. You got to do that for ourselves. That's on my list. Music, right, is something that I think charges all of us up. Specific things I have association with. Spending time in self-care. Now, I'm a fellow introvert. I don't know where my introverts are at. Okay, this might be different for some of you, right? Introverts, by definition, recharge while being alone. Extroverts are the opposite. Extroverts recharge by being with others, right? It's a natural thing, neither good nor bad or right or wrong. It's just how we're built. For me, I know I'm introverted. I know I need recharging time. I need alone time, self-care time to recharge. For some of you guys, it might be the exact opposite. It might be more social time, right? Time with others to recharge, but you got to be intentional about it. Contribution, service to others, helping. Giving without expectation. To me, that adds energy. There's probably nothing greater than being able to give, right? Without anything being expected in return. It adds energy. I want to be more intentional around contributing, right? Meditating. whether it's meditation. I've been practicing TM for many years now, or breathing or praying or visualizing, right? For me, those are things that recharge, that refuel, that add energy. Family, right? Time with Karis, time with Sadie, time with Grace. And I love that recharges me. Time with my close family, that recharges me. Close friends, expressing gratitude, pausing, even in the midst of some of the most chaotic days, in expressing gratitude, even in simple ways, adds energy, refuels to me. And then relationships and people that support all of the above, right? People around that are supportive, encouraging, challenging, a growth environment. You guys, those are some of the things that I rattled off on my add energy list. I bet there's a bunch of things that you relate to that might be on your list. And there's maybe a bunch of things that aren't on my list that need to be the top of your list. But here's what I know for sure. I know we all have two lists. I know we all have a list of things that take our energy, things that we might put our life into, even with the right intentions, that just suck it out of us, leaving nothing left. And if we're not careful, we will literally give our vitality, our energy source, our life away to people and places that do not give us a return. And guys, understanding that, I think, is more important than where you're putting your money, your crypto, your real estate, your NFTs. All that stuff's great. But what are you investing your energy into? And I know we also all have a list of things that do reciprocate, that do give back, that do generate, that do amplify. That if we can spend more of our time in that direction, we're going to have more energy and more feeling to create more momentum in those areas, which is not only going to make us as individuals happier and more effective, but at the end of the day, it allows us to pursue the potential that each and every one of us have. And that potential isn't about us. Us pursuing a potential isn't about us. Us unlocking a potential isn't about us. Us getting to our potential is about the impact we can make because we are reaching that to those around us. And in order to do that, guys, we have to have an energy going in the right direction. So those are my lists. I'd love to hear your guys' lists. For those catching this live, feel free to comment below things that add energy to your life. And I challenge all of you to make your list. Doesn't have to be your birthday. Doesn't have to be Groundhog's Day. You don't have to be 41. Every one of you can pause at any moment and just write the things down that you already know are true for you. You're negative, you're positive, and make a conscious shift to say this year, right, this point forward, 2022, we're going to be more mindful of where we invest our energy, AKA our life. Let's reduce, minimize, delete the things that take and that don't deserve. And let's add, multiply, maximize, right, the things that give, not only for ourselves, but so then through us, we can go be the light, make the impact on the world around us that I know each and every one of you guys are capable of. So that's my word. I'm going to wear my bracelet. Thank you, Brian, for that. Energy is my theme for the year. Thank you again for the birthday wishes. For those of you guys that are saying, hey, happy birthday, I'll give you my shameless birthday plug. Here's my wish. For those of you guys that want to do something for me on my birthday, hey, go drop by the podcast, Alive by Design, on all podcast platforms. And not only subscribe, but leave a review. That's my birthday wish. That's my shameless plug. If you guys have gotten value from this conversation or any of our conversations, over 100 episodes now, go leave a review right now. Don't wait. You'll forget. Just go to your Apple Podcasts, find Alive by Design. You got to scroll all the way to the bottom. It's all the way at the bottom. You can leave a 5-star rating, leave a review. That would be my birthday request because twofold. Number one, I enjoy reading them and seeing the value that it provides in people's lives. And number two, it helps. The more positive reviews, the more people get a chance to receive the message. And obviously, if anybody came to your mind or your heart that you feel needs to hear this conversation, maybe somebody that's getting their life sucked away and they don't even realize it, or someone that just wants to go to the next level, hey, share this episode. You have the gift you can share. And that would be my birthday request for all of you. But my wish for all of you, going back to the main topic today, is for you to adopt maybe the theme I'm bringing into my birthday year for yourself. Make your list, make the shift. More positive energy, guys. It is the currency of life. And with this level of awareness, hopefully the actions and decisions you make every day will now go into a direction that feeds you, right? That pushes you into a place where you can give more of yourself, and the world will be better because of it. So with that, guys, thank you for tuning in on my birthday. I appreciate it. It's going to be a freaking rocking year. Here's to 2022, an epic year for all of us, and a year that's all about energy for the reasons that we described today. Until the next time we talk together, take care, everybody. Thank you.